The crystal chandeliers above shimmered softly, scattering light across the grand ballroom of the Grand Azure Hotel. Everything looked perfect, elegant, expensive, almost unreal. And then there was me. I sat quietly at table 17. Not the front tables, where laughter echoed and glasses clinked with importance. Not even close. My table was near the kitchen doors, where waiters rushed in and out, and a cold draft kept brushing against my arms, making the candle flame tremble. It felt intentional. "Claire, you actually came?" I looked up. My sister, Amanda, stood in front of me, her hand wrapped around her husband's arm. Her wedding dress sparkled under the lights, every detail screaming luxury. Marcus stood beside her, adjusting his cufflinks like he was posing for a magazine. I gave a small smile. "Of course. It's your wedding." Amanda let out a soft laugh. "Not a kind one. I'm honestly surprised. I thought maybe gas money would be an issue for you." I paused just for a second, then gently placed my glass back on the table. "Congratulations, Amanda," I said calmly. "Everything looks beautiful." "It should," Marcus cut in quickly. His tone carried pride, and something sharper. "This venue alone costs $30,000. That's just the space. Not including food," Amanda added, glancing around proudly. "Of course," I replied softly. Amanda leaned a little closer. I could smell her perfume, expensive and heavy. "Honestly, Claire, I almost didn't invite you," she whispered. "Mom thought it might be embarrassing." My fingers tightened slightly under the table. She looked me up and down. "What are you wearing?" "Something from a discount rack." I followed her gaze to my dress. "Simple. Navy blue. Clean. Comfortable." "It's just something I like," I said. "Comfortable?" she repeated, laughing. "Did you hear that, Marcus? Comfortable." Marcus chuckled. "This isn't some office meeting. It's a luxury wedding." "I think it's fine," I said, keeping my voice even. He smirked. "Fine for a Tuesday morning." Amanda smiled, satisfied, and turned away. "Try not to stand out too much," she added before walking back toward the main tables where the rest of the family sat. I watched her go. Then I picked up my fork and started eating. The first course arrived. Beautifully plated. Something delicate and artistic. I ate slowly, quietly, observing the room. Everyone looked polished. Perfect. Like they belonged. "Claire!" My mother's voice cut through the air. She waved me over, her bracelet catching the light like a signal. I stood up and walked toward her table. I could feel eyes following me. Judging. "Yes, Mom. We're taking family photos," she said. I glanced at the group gathering, Amanda, Marcus, Dad, and his parents. "I'll join." "Oh no," she interrupted gently, placing a hand on my arm. "Just immediate family." I blinked. "I am immediate family." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You know what I mean, sweetheart. The people who contributed. The people who matter here." For a moment, everything felt very still. Then I nodded. "Of course." I stepped back. From a distance, I watched them pose. Smiling. Perfect. Complete. Like I didn't exist. When I returned to my table, my father was there. Standing. Waiting. "Claire," he said. "Sit down. We need to talk." That was new. He never sat with me at events. I took my seat slowly. "What is it?" He sat across from me, folding his hands neatly. "Your mother and I have been discussing your situation." "My situation?" "Yes," he said. "Your life. Your career. Your future." I stayed quiet. "You're 32, he continued. "You work some small office job. You drive an old car. You live in a rented apartment." Each word felt like a checklist. "Meanwhile, your sister has built something real." "I'm happy," I said quietly. He frowned. "Happiness isn't the point." There was a pause. "Achievement is." I looked at him. "What do you actually do, Claire?" "I'm an analyst." He almost laughed. "An analyst," he repeated. "That's what people say when they don't have a real title." "I analyze data," I said calmly. "For who?" "Some tiny company no one knows." "Something like that." He shook his head slowly. "We didn't raise you to be average." His voice lowered. "Do you know how embarrassing it is? When people ask about our daughters." I didn't answer. "We say Amanda is successful. Married well. Established." He paused. "And then there's you." Silence. "I'm sorry you feel that way," I said. "Sorry isn't enough," he replied sharply. "We've decided something." I looked up. "We're cutting you off." I blinked. "Cutting me off from what?" "Everything. Financial support. Emergency help. Gifts. All of it." I stared at him. "I haven't asked you for money in 10 years. "That's not the point," he snapped. The point is you're not trying. He stood up. Maybe this will finally push you to become something. Then he leaned slightly closer. And tonight, try not to embarrass us further. He walked away. Just like that. I sat there for a moment. Then I picked up my fork again and continued eating. The food was excellent. And somehow, I wasn't surprised. The main course arrived, rich, perfectly plated, and completely ignored by my thoughts. I had just taken a bite when a familiar voice returned. Claire, quick question. I looked up. Marcus. Again. He pulled out the empty chair across from me without asking and leaned forward, like we were about to have a serious conversation. What kind of car do you drive? He asked casually. A Honda Civic, I replied. He laughed instantly. Not surprised, not impressed, just amused. A Civic, he repeated, shaking his head. That makes sense. I took another bite of my food. Calm. Unbothered. Do you know what I drive? He continued. I don't, I said. A Tesla Model S Plaid, he said proudly. Top tier. Fast, expensive, exclusive. He paused, waiting for a reaction. That's nice, I said. His smile faded slightly. Nice, he repeated. Claire, it's not nice. It's exceptional. I didn't respond. He leaned back in his chair. That's the difference between people like you and people like me, he said. You think in terms of enough. We think in terms of excellence. I prefer practical things, I replied. He chuckled. Exactly. That mindset, that's why you're stuck. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he leaned closer again. Let me be honest with you, he said quietly. Amanda almost didn't invite you tonight. I know, I said. She was worried, he continued, that having a sister like you would reflect badly on her. I looked at him. I'm not poor, I said calmly. He smiled. Claire, you're sitting at table 17. That stung, just a little. That's the table you put people at when you have to invite them, but don't want them near anyone important. Silence. Then he tapped the table lightly. Here's some advice, he added. If you want respect, you have to look successful. Dress better. Drive better. Live better. I met his eyes. I'll keep that in mind. He stood up, satisfied. Oh, and maybe skip dessert, he said. $40 for chocolate soufflé. Probably not your budget. He walked away. I watched him disappear into the crowd, then quietly finished my meal. Dessert arrived anyway. I ordered it, and I ate it slowly. A little later, Amanda returned. She didn't sit this time. She just stood there, looking down at me like she was checking something off a list. We're about to cut the cake, she said. Try not to get in any pictures. I won't, I replied. I've told the photographer to focus on people who actually belong here. There was a pause. Also, she added, you can leave early after dinner. I looked up at her. I'm fine staying. She tilted her head slightly. Are you? She asked. This doesn't really seem like your world. I didn't answer right away. What is my world? I asked instead. She smiled faintly. I don't know, she said. Cheap food, small apartments, Netflix, whatever it is, it's definitely not this. I nodded slowly. You're probably right. I know I am, she said. We're just different. Then she turned and walked away. Just like that. The night continued. Music started. People danced, laughed, and I stayed exactly where I was. Table 17. Watching. Around 10 o'clock, more relatives began stopping by. Not to talk, not really. To evaluate. So, Claire, where are you working these days? Still renting that tiny apartment? Have you thought about going back to school? Any future plans? Each question came with a look. A judgment. A quiet conclusion already made. I answered politely. Calmly. Like it didn't matter. Then something changed. Amanda came back again. This time she looked different. Not confident. Not relaxed. Tense. Claire, she said quickly, pulling out the chair and sitting down. I need to ask you something. I set my fork down. What is it? She hesitated. Then spoke. The hotel just sent the final invoice. I nodded slightly. Okay. There's a charge on it, she continued. That doesn't make sense. What kind of charge? She looked directly at me. A room. Booked under your name. I stayed quiet. Room 2847, she added. Yes, I said. Her eyes widened. You actually booked a room here? I did. Claire, she let out a breath. Do you have any idea how expensive this hotel is? I do. Then why would you do that? She asked, her voice rising. Are you seriously trying to pretend you belong here? I just wanted to stay the night. She stared at me like I'd said something ridiculous. You can't afford this, she said. This is desperate. The The room is already paid for, I replied calmly. Then cancel it, she snapped. Get your money back. I'm keeping it. Her expression hardened. This is embarrassing, she whispered. What if people find out you're staying here? They'll think you're trying to insert yourself into something you don't belong in. I didn't respond. She stood up abruptly. I'm telling Mom and Dad, she said. And then she walked away fast. A few minutes later, I saw them. Amanda, my mother, my father, all walking toward me. Together. Their expressions identical. Disappointment. Frustration. Something close to anger. They stopped at my table. Claire, my mother said sharply. What is this about a hotel room? I looked at her. I booked a room. You live 40 minutes away, my father added. You could have gone home. I wanted to stay. This is exactly the problem, my mother said. You spend money you don't have on things you can't afford. Amanda crossed her arms. I want you to cancel it. Right now. I'm not canceling it. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. My father stepped closer. You will cancel that room, he said firmly. Or we will speak to hotel management ourselves. I looked at him. On what grounds? On the grounds, he said, his voice tightening, that you clearly don't belong here. And then, a calm voice interrupted. Is there a problem here? We all turned. A man in a perfectly tailored black suit stood beside the table. Composed. Professional. Watching everything. His name tag caught the light. James Morrison, hotel manager. The moment the hotel manager stepped forward, everything shifted. Is there a problem here? James Morrison asked calmly. My father straightened immediately. No problem, he said quickly. Just a small family matter. James nodded politely, but his eyes moved toward me. And then he smiled. Miss Williams, he said warmly. I just wanted to personally check if everything is to your satisfaction. Silence. Complete silence. Amanda frowned. Wait, she said slowly. You know her? James looked slightly confused. Of course, he replied. Miss Williams is one of our most valued guests. I could feel every eye at the table turn toward me. Amanda let out a small laugh. I think you're mistaken, she said. My sister doesn't stay in places like this. James didn't react to her tone. Instead, he continued professionally. Miss Williams, I trust your suite is comfortable. We upgraded you to the presidential level as requested. No one spoke. Not a single word. The presidential level? My mother whispered. Yes, James said. As always. My father's face slowly lost color. As always, he repeated. James paused, sensing the tension now. I apologize if I've said too much, he added carefully. Amanda stepped forward. No, she said. You've said just enough. Explain. James glanced at me. I gave a small nod. He took a breath. Miss Williams has been a regular guest with us for several years, he said. She's part of our Diamond Elite program. How many times? Amanda asked sharply. James hesitated, then answered. 73 stays in the past 4 years. My mother grabbed the edge of the table. That's not possible. There must be a mistake, my father added quickly. James shook his head. There is no mistake. Amanda's voice dropped. How much does that program require? James answered simply. A minimum annual spend of $200,000. The words landed heavy. $200,000. Every year. Marcus actually stepped back. That's insane, he muttered. But James wasn't finished. Additionally, he continued, Miss Williams frequently hosts corporate events with us. My father looked confused. Corporate events? Yes, James said. Including an annual conference of approximately 3,000 attendees. The room around us had gone quiet. People were listening now. Watching. Waiting. Marcus shook his head. No, he said. This is ridiculous. James's expression changed slightly. More firm now. I assure you, he said, there is no confusion. And then, another voice joined in. Everything all right here? We all turned again. A woman in a sharp business suit approached. Confident. Focused. Her badge read, Patricia Chun, Director of Operations. She smiled at me instantly. Miss Williams, I didn't realize you were attending a personal event tonight. I am, I said calmly. I hope everything has been perfect, she added. It has. Amanda stepped forward again. This is my wedding, she said coldly. I'm the one who booked this venue. Patricia's smile stayed, but her eyes cooled slightly. Of course, she replied, though the booking itself was processed through one of our corporate partners. Amanda blinked. What does that mean? It means, Patricia said gently, final approval comes from the ownership group. My father frowned. Who owns this hotel? He asked. There was a pause. James looked at Patricia. Patricia looked at me. And then, a third voice spoke. Excuse me. We all turned one last time. An older man approached. Calm, confident, the kind of presence that didn't need attention, but commanded it anyway. His name tag read, Michael Reynolds, Regional Vice President. He walked straight toward me and extended his hand. Claire, he said warmly. It's good to see you. I stood and shook his hand. Good to see you too. My father's voice came out unsteady. You know her? Michael smiled slightly. Know her, he repeated. I report to her. Silence. Again. Heavy. Unavoidable. Amanda's voice shook. What does that mean? Michael turned toward them. It means, he said clearly, Miss Williams is the majority shareholder of Azure Luxury Hotels. Everything stopped. Majority shareholder? My mother whispered. Michael nodded. She owns 51% of the company. Marcus let out a short, disbelieving laugh. That's impossible, he said. She drives a Honda Civic. I smiled faintly. I like my Civic. My father looked at me like he didn't recognize me anymore. Claire, he said slowly. Is this true? I met his eyes. Yes. No hesitation. No explanation. Just truth. Amanda stepped back. But how? She whispered. I started a data company in my 20s, I said calmly. We built predictive systems for hospitality markets. They listened stunned. Azure bought it, I continued. But I kept majority ownership. Silence filled the space between us. My mother sank into a chair. $8 billion, she whispered. That's the current valuation, I said. Amanda stared at me. Then why do you live like this? She asked. Because I want to, I replied. Simple. Clear. Final. You let us think you were nothing, she said. I shook my head slightly. No, I said. You decided that on your own. No one argued. No one could. Then James cleared his throat gently. Miss Williams, he said. Regarding tonight's event, should we proceed with standard policy? Amanda looked confused. What policy? Patricia answered smoothly. When a family member of ownership is involved, all discounts are removed. Amanda froze. What? The full amount becomes due within 30 days, Patricia added. Marcus stepped forward. That's over $40,000, he said. Yes, she replied. We can't pay that, Amanda whispered. I looked at her. Really looked at her. You should have thought about that, I said quietly, before deciding what I was worth. Tears filled her eyes. Claire, please. I picked up my bag. You spent the entire night measuring value in money, I said. So here's your lesson. I paused. I have more of it than all of you combined. No one spoke. I just don't need to prove it. I turned and started walking away. Behind me, voices rose. Panic. Arguments. Fear. But I didn't stop. At the door, Michael caught up with me. The board meeting, he said. Still planning Monte Carlo? Yes, I replied. He nodded. I'll arrange everything. I stepped into the elevator. The doors closed slowly. And for the first time that night, everything was quiet. I looked at my reflection. Same dress. Same face. Same person. The only difference? Now they finally knew. As the elevator doors opened to the presidential floor, I smiled softly. Because sometimes, the person sitting at table 17 owns the entire building.